All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Andrew Lau and Adam Barker starting on the front row. Nick Sorensen, Max Gunther on the second. Mike Marshall and Simon Zierk have the third row. Rudolph Gunther and Mike Dolling on the fourth row. George Cole and Nicole, that's what she said, Kriesel, rounding out your top 10. Harry Volsmir starts in 11th after having not qualified. All the drivers taking to the grid just around the corner from the start-finish line. No full pace lap this morning. I imagine, given the track temps, these drivers are likely not wanting to put too much heat into the tires this early. Track temperature currently 69 degrees, so it's cooled down a bit since practice. But this track is still, a lot of the drivers we're talking about, this track's still going to eat those tires alive. Note to self, I will remember that. It eats tires alive, so I can use that excuse for when I'm terrible here. Don't forget to tune in this week. Check us out on Facebook. All the official posts will be up this afternoon. We will be doing an MS fundraiser this week. Thanks to Conlift Solutions and Mike Marshall, I am going to be learning to drive with my hands so that I can be back in the car more. That will start tomorrow afternoon, folks. You ain't going to want to miss that. If nothing else, it'll be hilarious. Here we go, the first race of the day. Harry Volsmir did not take to the grid. Andrew Lau has the pole, will control the start. Looks like most of the field, no, they looked like they were going to try and go single file through this section of track. It is very tricky through here at race speeds and even a little tricky at pace speeds. There will be a lot of passing through these turns. Here we go down toward that final turn, the front straightaway. The Porsche pace car hits pit road momentarily. There goes the pace car and that top five. A bunch of Ferraris out on track this morning. Here they go. Andrew Lau fires. They are away, and green flag is in the air at Interlagos. Now, if you remember, in previous seasons when we have raced here, we have seen a Mad Bear shoot the gap into turn one and pick up a ton of positions. Not happening this morning. Nicole Kriesel has a problem out of turn two. George Cole gets it. Andrew Lau, Adam Barker, Max Gunther now up into third. Simon Zierk has made his way up to fifth. Mike Dolling also on the move this morning. Mike up to sixth already. I do know Mike Dolling was practicing his celebration in the pits during practice. We'll see if he has a reason to celebrate at the end of the day. And Max Gunther has had a little bit of an off, but he manages to hold on to it a little wide there. Let's take a quick look. I don't believe it impacted him at all. Looks like Max may have just... Oh, Max swung way wide out of that section of track. Gathers it back up. Rudolph Gunther now in 7th. Mike Marshall now back to 8th. George Cole in 9th. Nicole Kriesel back in 10th. It is still Andrew Lau leading the field, though. Tricky part of the track here. The corners, you try and accelerate out of them too hard, you will spin, but you have to push as deep as possible in, as Max Gunther is trying to show Adam Barker he was right to the bumper on corner entry. Now Adam Barker and Max Gunther all nose to tail. Nick Sorensen in the Ferrari this morning back and forth. Simon Zierk in 5th. Sorensen won race 2 last week at Road Atlanta in that Mercedes. But obviously Sorensen being in that Ferrari this morning, a big surprise to everybody. Meanwhile, Max Gunther in the Porsche has the fastest lap so far. Mike Dolling continues to close in, trying to reel in Simon Zierk now. Dolling up to 6th place, up 2 spots. Max Gunther, though, the fastest so far, haunting the back bumper of Adam Barker, just not able to find a way by. These 3 cars completely nose to tail all the way around the track, and it has allowed Sorensen to close back up. Simon Zierk, the lone BMW, also starting to gain some ground here. That tight section in the middle of the track definitely is interesting with some uphill and downhill off-camber turns. You have to be on the wheel all the way around the track. Down into turn 1 and 2, Adam Barker got right to Lau's back bumper, and Max Gunther had to back out a little bit. Sorensen now all over the back bumper as they head down into the fast left-hand 90-degree turn. Sorensen got a huge run through there and a huge run out. He is going to look to the outside now on Gunther. Cannot complete the pass though. Nicole Kriesel has had a problem in the kink. Oh, no, I apologize. She was headed downhill in turn 1. Just back end just snaps around on her. That section of track is definitely a bit trickier on the brakes, trying to carry the momentum. Left turn, right turn, downhill, a little off camber. It is fun, but it is difficult. putting a little breathing room between him and Adam Barker on the straightaway. Down the hill, Max Gunther was looking to the inside on Adam Barker, couldn't get there. Every driver nose to tail in the top four. Simon Zierk lurking just behind in fifth. Mike Doling coming out of the turn back in sixth. Mike Marshall in seventh. Rudolph Gunther in eighth is closing in on Marshall. George Cole back in ninth and Nicole Kriesel in 10th after the issue in turn one. Being a little bit more careful as she comes through this time. You see Adam Barker really pushing it through there, swinging wider than Lau, trying to keep as much momentum as possible for the uphill run. We will not see any pit stops here in the first race. We will see pit stops in race two. And given what we heard from the drivers during practice, I expect every driver to be taking 4 tires this morning. Simon Zierk back in fifth, sits about 1.5 seconds behind Sorensen. Has pulled a gap though on Mike Doling in sixth. Mike Marshall though has started to reel Mike Doling in, now less than a second back. Rudolph Gunther back in 8th, has some breathing room over George Cole in 9th. You gotta love the classic Marlboro paint on that car. Sorensen made the wise choice this morning, hopping in the Ferrari. Obviously, as we've talked about over the course of the season, that Mercedes he usually drives has all the power and would be great on the straightaways, but this track has so many tight turns that he would be at a very big disadvantage. What a shot as they come back across, and here we go. Adam Barker looks for the lead, can't get the nose in. Holy cow, Max almost gets him. Sorensen now to Max's back bumper. Everybody from second on back having to check up. And now Sorensen's got the run on Max for third. Can he keep the nose in into the left-hander? It's going to be close. It is a drag race to the next turn. Max has the advantage, and Max holds on to third. Mike Doling back in sixth, still has Mike Marshall right there within about a second at the moment. Andrew Lallow still maintains the lead, has led every lap so far, just past the halfway point of race one. Simon Zierk is closed back in within about a second of Nick Sorensen in fourth, putting the top five all within about 3 seconds. Mike Doling is going to pit road. Looks like Doling may just be getting fuel. The car is not up. Weird situation that has Mike Doling drifting back to, looks like about 8. Oh! Mike Doling has a problem coming off this tricky pit road. Let's take a look. Looks like he was hard on the gas out of pit road, and just the back end just steps around as he goes downhill. Doling did tow back to his pit stall. Did look like he picked up some damage on that one. Mike now scored in 10th place. Mike Marshall, who had been reeling Doling in, is now up into 6th and is reeling in Simon Zierk. But Simon 4 seconds ahead with about 7.5 minutes to go. Does Marshall have the speed to reel in the BMW driven by Simon? The top two have given themselves a little breathing room. It is now 1.3 seconds. Back to 3rd place, Max Gunther, who is still having to try and hold off Nick Sorensen in 4th. Simon in 5th. Mike Marshall still closing in, now 3.5 seconds back. Rudolf Gunther appears to be out of the race. Not 100% sure what happened with Rudolph. He didn't have any issues. I did see a car blinking early in the race. Have to wonder if he lost connection. Sorensen and Mac. Oh, Sorensen now trying to shoot to the high side, headed toward turn 1. Did not get enough. Meanwhile, Adam Barker takes Andrew Lau. Here they come down that front straightaway. Adam gets the run into turn 1. Just outbrakes him barely and takes the lead. Adam Barker now in the lead, trying to pull a little bit of a gap on Andrew Lau. That did allow Max Gunther and Nick Sorensen to close back up. Simon Zierk continues to close in, now 2.5 seconds back after losing some time. But Mike Marshall on the attack, now less than 3 seconds behind Simon. George Cole now up to 7th, and Nicole Kriesel now up into 8th. If Adam can hold on to the lead for about 4 more minutes, he will take the points lead here in race 1. With Giancarlo being out of the not being here this morning. Meanwhile, Max Gunther still having to battle Sorensen. Sorensen has a run up top. Sorensen will have the momentum advantage out of the turn and the inside into this right-hander as they come up the hill. Max tries to hold him off. Wow, Max not giving an inch, using all the track and then some, but cannot hold Sorensen off. Nick Sorensen now to third. Max still all over the bumper of Nick Sorensen, trying to reclaim that podium spot. Simon Zierk trying to reel him in, but the one on the march right now continues to be Mike Marshall. Mike now just 2.7 seconds behind Simon, with it looks like 3 laps to go. Adam Barker had started to pull a little bit of a gap on Andrew Lau, but Lau has reeled him back in. Sorensen in third, cannot get away from Max in fourth. Simon is loving what he sees ahead. Rudolf Gunther is back out on track. Looks like there may have been a connection problem there. Rudolph back out on track. Continuing battle going on for third. Oh, we've got a car around. It is Andrew Lau. Andrew has towed the pit road with just 2 minutes left. Andrew doing everything he can to close the gap on Adam Barker, but that off-kilter downhill left turn, just too much speed. The back end snaps around. Now Adam Barker has a big lead. Adam's lead now 3 1/4 seconds over Nick Sorensen. Max Gunther back in third. Simon Zierk now in fourth, with Mike Marshall still closing in. Mike now just 1 second or 1.8 seconds behind Simon. George Cole now up to 6th. Nicole Kriesel in 7th. Sorensen has finally put some breathing room between him and Max Gunther, now 3/4 of a second. But Max is sending it through every turn, trying to close in. Mike Marshall still reeling in the BMW of Simon Zierk. Now just 1.7 seconds back. And the checkers are out. Adam Barker will win race 1 at Interlagos. Nick Sorensen comes home in second, and Max Gunther coming home third. What a race this was. Looking forward to race 2, but let's talk to our top 3, starting with Max Gunther. Max, that was one heck of a race and one heck of a battle between you and Nick.
Yeah, it was a great battle. Yeah, but he got me, and it was really great. It was great racing.
It looked like a ton of fun out there, and it was very difficult to pass at times, but man, you guys getting side by side, you managed to hold him off a couple of times.
Yeah, but in the end, he got me. He's really the Ferrari is really fast in a straight line. It's a rocket ship. Especially here in Interlagos, there's not much he can do with a Porsche.
Well, man, still a great fight, a great job this morning.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you.
Max comes home in third. Nick Sorensen coming home in second. Nick, there was a glitch in the Matrix this morning. You are not in a Mercedes.
No, no, I did a little bit of practice and wasn't great, so I just picked the cheater car, the Ferrari, this week. So
It
turned
is
out pretty well.
It is definitely a Ferrari-dominated track this morning. Obviously, the Ferraris have been extremely fast.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about it, but it is a nice car to drive. It's my first. I'm only driven a couple times. It's a great car to drive, but yeah, for some reason, it's just really quick around here.
Well, man, a great job, a great battle between you and Max, and congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Good job to Max there. It was a good battle, banging doors a little bit a couple times, but was able to get by him.
Man,
So,
great
thanks.
job. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug.
And finally, our winner, Adam Barker. Adam, you definitely drove it off into turn one to take the lead and then not look back.
Yeah, that was a really interesting race. Andrew, super fast as always. He just seemed to be a little bit slow going into turn one. We all sort of bunched up behind him. But the last corner, he just had such a good run out of it. I could never really get alongside. He went wide. I had to build that pass up from like 5 corners behind, so I needed to be on his bumper for the end of the lap, and I knew that was my my one and only chance. He sort of covered off the inside, and he left just enough room so I could speak up. So and then sort of pushed him a little bit wide, so he couldn't get any exit on turn 2. So
Man, it definitely worked. It was an awesome race and a great win. But now coming from 7th, it's not going to be easy to pass here this morning.
It's not, but Andrew's also starting first, so he's going to be able to get a good lead. So I don't think we're going to be able to catch him unless something goes off here, because he's going to have the whole road to himself. And saying that, I've got some really quick people ahead of me. So Max was on my bumper for most of that race, even inside my bumper a few times. So he's not slow, and Nick really did a good race to fight for P2. So
Well, great job this morning. Congratulations and good luck in race 2.
yeah, thank you. You can never count out Mike Dolling either. He's coming from the back, so he's got nothing to lose.
Well, great job, buddy.
Thank you.
Mike Dolling, we did see, was constantly charging throughout that race. And George Cole, only his second race with NSS, currently out getting some practice laps in. As is Adam Barker now. Just a few seconds left to go in the warm-up. Then we go to race number 2. Just enough time to run to the snack bar, get some food, get some drink while you're standing in line. Make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe, and most importantly, hit that share button. Invite your friends and family out. If you have a favorite driver in the field, make sure you drop in the comments. Let us know who you are cheering for this morning. David, man, Good luck. That was definitely a rough Legends race for you last week, but I honestly thought that late model, man, you were coming on strong. All right, here we go. Race number 2. We'll see Andrew Lau and George Cole now on the front row. Mike Marshall, Simon Zierk have the second row. Max Gunther and Nick Sorensen on the third row. Adam Barker, after winning and the invert, will start in 7th. Nicole, that's what she said. Kriesel starts 8th. Rudolph Gunther and Mike Dolling round out the top 10. Harry Volsmere did not grid for race 1. Not expecting him to grid here in race 2. We shall see. I've had that happen as well, buddy. Now we do know in this race we are going to see everybody taking 4 tires on their fuel stop. And Andrew Lau, who is so fast in race number 1, starting up front due to the invert after having issues battling for the lead. As you heard Adam Barker say, expect him to check out. This race is his to lose. However, they do have to make a pit stop halfway through the race. Expect that after about 25 minutes to go, we'll see everybody in for fuel and 4 tires. I'm guessing Lau needs to get a big gulp full of fuel in that pit stop. Andrew Lau and George Cole on the front row. The Porsche pace car about to drop in. The view from the blimp this morning. Pace car heads through the kink and towards pit road. Everybody stacked up tight, ready to go here. Lau fires, they are away. Green flag now in the air. Lau gets a big jump, but the battle is on back behind, and Mike Marshall already makes their 3 wide into turn 1. They back out to 2 wide. Rudolph Gunther is around. Everybody else makes it through turn 1. Let's see what happened with Rudolph. There's Rudolph down to the inside through turn 1, and through turn 2 just clips the grass. George Cole also had a problem. George on the inside through turn 2 snaps loose out into the infield. Andrew Lau already has a 1.7 second lead over second place Mike Marshall. Max Gunther sits in 3rd, Simon Zierk in 4th, Adam Barker in 5th. Adam already picking up a couple of spots, as has Rudolph Gunther despite his issues, and Mike Dolling on the march again. Nicole Kriesel sits back in 9th with George Cole in 10th after his early spin. Still a lot of battling as they come down the second straight. Adam Barker's going to make it 3 wide. Now down to 2 wide. Mike Marshall backing out of it, but Simon Zierk still in the fight with Barker. And it looks like Simon able to outrun him into the turn. Adam brakes a bit too much, goes wide. Mike Marshall still holding on in 5th. Nick Sorensen right behind in 6th. Rudolph Gunther now in 7th and Mike Dolling in 8th. Max Gunther has gotten clear of traffic. Now the battle is on from 3rd on back. Andrew Lau's lead now 1.6 seconds. Max Gunther trying to reel him in. But you heard Max say it after finishing 3rd in race 1. He could run with him through the turns, but the Ferrari is a rocket ship on the straightaways. And Andrew Lau just set the fastest lap of the morning. Adam now looking down to the inside on Simon Zierk. It will allow Marshall and Sorensen to close in. Adam gets the run and clears. Adam Barker now back up into 3rd place after starting at 7th. Now the question becomes, does Adam have the speed to run down Max Gunther 2 seconds ahead, or Andrew Lau almost 4 seconds ahead? Nick Sorensen still lurking on Mike Marshall's back bumper. Has allowed Rudolph Gunther to get a little bit closer, as is Mike Dolling. Nicole Kriesel still holds on tonight, but George Cole is closing the gap. Max Gunther is on full attack, has closed into 1.5 seconds. Meanwhile, Adam Barker just set the fastest lap of the race back behind this battle as he tries to reel in Max. Simon Zierk sitting in 4th, Mike Marshall in 5th. Sorensen still looking for a move on Marshall. And that is still allowing Rudolph Gunther to close the gap. Hey, good morning, Blake. How's it going? Adam Barker continues to reel in the top 2. We had 3 weeks in a row, weeks 3, 4, and 5, where a driver swept both races. Last week at Road America, there was no sweep, but Adam Barker's trying to bring it back right now. Simon Zierk has now put some breathing room between him and Mike Marshall. Mike still has Sorensen right there. Rudolph Gunther was closing the gap, but has only got to about 1.5 seconds. Doesn't seem to be able to get any closer. And then I said something, and those 2 in front of him got a little dicey through 1 and 2, and guess what? Rudolph Gunther is there. Last time by, Adam Barker once again set the fastest lap of the race as he continues to reel in the top two. Lau continues to lead, but his lead is starting to close, now down to 1 1/4 seconds as Max Gunther continues to close in. But once again, Adam Barker sets the fastest lap of the morning. That is 3 fast laps in a row as he continues to close in on the top two. Simon Zierk in 4th, Mike Marshall 5th, Sorensen 6th, Rudolph in 7th, Mike Dolling in 8th, George Cole is now taking 9th, and Nicole, that's what she said, Kriesel in 10th. Mike Marshall had been reeling them in for a bit, but battling with Sorensen has put him 3 seconds behind 4th place Simon Zierk. Rudolph Gunther still lurking right behind Marshall and Sorensen. And don't count Mike Dolling out just yet. He was extremely fast in race 1. You have to wonder if he is taking it a little bit easier, trying to conserve the tires. Adam Barker, the previous 3 laps had set lap records. He does not this time. He just runs an identical lap to the previous one. And continues to reel in Max Gunther and Andrew Lau. Simon Zierk back in 4th is holding his own, holding about 1.5 seconds to 1.7 seconds behind Adam Barker. Mike Marshall, Nick Sorensen, and Rudolph Gunther unable to close the gap at the moment. Meanwhile, Andrew Lau's big lead has gone. Max Gunther now within about a second. Adam Barker still reeling the top 2 in at the moment. Adam won race number 1 and due to the invert had to start in 7th place. Is now fighting his way forward with everything he has got. Mike Marshall, Nick Sorensen, and Rudolph Gunther still battling for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Rudolph lost a little ground on that lap, trying to close back in. Meanwhile, Max Gunther now within 3/4 of a second of Andrew Lau, the leader. With Adam Barker continuing to close that gap, these guys had better hurry it up. Sorensen finally gets past Mike Marshall. Oh, Rudolph Gunther trying to go on the attack into the tighter section of turns. Went a little bit wide. Andrew Lau still has the lead, but Max Gunther and Adam Barker are on the way. And guess who else is starting to close in just a little bit? Simon Zierk. Nick Sorensen now back in 5th as his sights set on 4th place, 3.5 seconds ahead. He has actually already pulled a gap on Mike Marshall and Rudolf Gunther. Nick on full attack this morning in the Ferrari. Andrew managed to extend his lead just a little bit, now back to 1.25 seconds. Adam Barker has caught up to Max Gunther. Simon Zierk is hoping those two will start battling here in a moment because Nick Sorensen is closing in as well. Mike Marshall, Rudolf Gunther just over a second behind. Mike Dolling also reeling them in. George Kolb holds on to 9th place. Nicole Kriesel back in 10th after problems early. And on that straightaway, Adam Barker just got right to Max's back bumper. This is definitely what Andrew Lau wants to see in his mirror, these two battling. Meanwhile, Nick Sorensen continues to reel in Simon Zierk. Whoa! A little bobble out of the Porsche of Max Gunther, but he holds on to it. Did set him off kilter into that turn, allows Adam Barker right back to his bumper. Simon still has about 3.5 seconds on Sorensen though. And here we go. Adam Barker shoots to the high side down the front straightaway. Can he take advantage into one? He's got the outside line, but now we'll have the... Oh no, they get together. Max Gunther in the wall. Adam Barker now to second. Max recovers, but not until Simon Zierk. Max has got steering damage. It looks like Max Gunther's steering may be broken. We'll have to keep an eye on the car for a couple of turns, but it looked like as he was coming down the straightaway, the car was crabbing. The car is definitely broke. Let's take a look at that incident. Watching from the blimp overhead into turn one, Max almost clears, comes across the nose. Thought he had cleared, Adam had not. Take another look at Max here. Adam almost straightened him out, but he hits hard to the left front, and you can see that car is not steering correctly. Max Gunther has gone to pit road. This is a bit early. Max Gunther may be able to conserve enough fuel to go the distance from here. But he is several minutes early, about 7 minutes earlier than what we expected. Max on his way back out. Does look like he took tires and fuel, so this might end up working out for him. Max came off pit road in 8th place. Andrew Lau now has the lead with Adam Barker closing in 2nd. Simon Zierk currently in 3rd. Sorensen in 4th and Mike Marshall in 5th. Rudolph Gunther now to 6th. Mike Dolling in 7th. Max Gunther in 8th. George Cole in 9th. And Nicole, that's what she said, Kriesel in 10th. Andrew's lead now 1.7 seconds, but Barker continues to close the gap. Does look like Adam does have a little bit of damage on the left front of that car from the incident with Max. Rudolph Gunther back in 6th as Mike Dolling in 7th closing in. Max Gunther in 8th, definitely back on the attack as he is trying to close back in and make up some lost ground here. Andrew Lau's lead, though, is starting to shrink as Adam Barker is closing. Nick Sorensen has also started to close in on Simon Zierk. Mike Marshall in 5th is pulling away from Rudolph Gunther in 6th and trying to close the gap on Sorensen. Adam Barker still closing in on Andrew Lau after winning race 1 and having to start from 7th. Has fought his way forward. But even Adam said between races, he did say it would be tough to catch Andrew and even tougher to pass him. It could very well come down to who has the faster pit stop. Max Gunther currently running in 8th, trying to close the gap on the cars ahead before they hit pit road. And now Adam Barker has caught Andrew Lau, and lap traffic looks like it will come into play. Rudolph Gunther is in. First pit stop we have seen. Expect to see him up, getting 4 tires and fuel. Here they go. The car is up, 4 tires, fuel, and he'll be away. As Adam is right on the bumper of Andrew Lau and Nicole Kriesel just ahead. Oh, Nicole almost had a bobble right there in front of the leaders. Nicole pulls over, lets the leaders get by. As Mike Dolling had a bit of an off track a moment ago. Betting he just swung a bit too wide there. Yep, he did. They drag race down towards turn 1. Simon in third now has Nick Sorensen. Sorensen has been closing slowly but steadily on third place. Now just 1.4 seconds behind the Beamer. Mike Marshall still holds on to 5th. Mike Dolling in 6th. Max Gunther now back up into 7th as Rudolph Gunther having just come off pit road in 8th. George Cole holds on to 9th. Nicole Kriesel in 10th. Sorensen now just 3/4 of a second behind Simon Zierk. Checked up a little bit as he came by Nicole, but he is closing in quickly. Neither of the 2 leaders head to pit road. This will be interesting to see if we see anybody else in here. And the big question is, can Max Gunther go the distance on fuel after that earlier stop? Can he stretch it far enough to make up the ground he has lost here? Simon Zierk now under attack from Sorensen. Will Mike Marshall be able to capitalize and make up some ground here as well? Max Gunther in 7th is setting some fast laps and closing back in. He needs the rest of the field to do their pit stops. Simon, a little bit of a blink there right in front of Sorensen. The BMW of Simon Zierk still holds off Andrew Lau, holds off Nick Sorensen for how long? Mike Marshall is on pit road. Now Max Gunther sees the pit stops ahead. How much ground can he make up? And how much longer can Andrew Lau hold off Adam Barker? Hugely different lines between the BMW and the Ferrari. George Cole now gives up ninth. He is headed toward pit road. No, neither leader is in. Simon Zierk, Nick Sorensen stay out. Will Mike Dolling be in this time? These drivers continuing to stretch definitely is a good sign for Max Gunther, who had to stop substantially earlier than he anticipated. Could very well mean he has the fuel to go the distance. Sorensen almost went on the attack there, but backed off and let Simon go. Big surprise. He had quite a run out of the turn. Simon also starting to blink just a little bit again. Nicole Kriesel is in for her fuel stop. Several of these close battles we're watching could be decided momentarily on pit road. And it looks like Adam Barker may be setting up. They both come in. Lau and Barker on pit road. Simon Zierk is on his way in. Sorensen, though, stayed out. Andrew Lau hits his pit stall up in the air, 4 tires and fuel here. Adam Barker and Simon Zierk also likely getting 4 tires and fuel. Sorensen now has the lead. And Mike Marshall has had a problem. There is Mike coming up through the tight section of track, just turns it in a little too much. The back end steps out, and Adam Barker has had a problem. Adam rolls off pit road just behind Andrew Lau, has to stop. And we saw this happen in race 1. The back end just steps out. This is such a tricky pit road exit. Nick Sorensen now comes in for his stop, leaving Mike Dolling the only driver who has not pitted. Dolling now in, and this bodes well for Max. He should be able to go the distance, but now Andrew Lau will reclaim the lead with Simon Zierk now in second and Adam Barker back to third. Max Gunther will now, looks like he may move back up into fourth. Sorensen on his way out, and Simon Zierk has had a problem. Down the hill into turn 1. We've seen this bite a few drivers this morning. Too much of the rumble strips. The car goes around. Simon does manage to recover the car. However, it moves him back into 4th. Now Adam Barker back into 2nd with Sorensen now in 3rd. Adam Barker in 2nd, trying to reel in Lau, but after his incident on pit road, Lau's lead is now just at 15 seconds. Nick Sorensen sits back in 3rd. Simon Zierk now in 4th. Max Gunther in 5th. Max closing in on Simon, and actually Max is closing in and faster than everybody except for the leader at the moment. Rudolph Gunther holds 6th. Mike Marshall in 7th. Mike Doling in 8th. George Cole sits back in 9th, and Nicole Kriesel in 10th. Lau does have quite a bit of breathing room here. Likely just coasted from here. Does not need to push the car or take any risks. Adam Barker has definitely had a rough second race. Still holding on to a podium position though. And with Harry Volsmeer not taking the grid today, that's going to move Nick Sorensen, who currently runs in 3rd, up to the top 5 in points. Some of these points battles will really tighten up after today, especially with Andrew Lau out front over Adam Barker. Sorensen sitting in 3rd, Simon Zierk in 4th, Max Gunther in 5th, Rudolph Gunther in 6th, Mike Marshall in 7th, and Mike Doling in 8th. 6th on back, we're about to have a bit of a battle between these three. Rudolph, Mike, and Mike fairly close to each other, with Mike Doling reeling both of the drivers ahead in. Andrew Lau maintaining pace, currently maintaining about 14.8 seconds over Adam Barker, not giving up a whole lot. Sorensen back in 3rd though, 4.5 seconds behind Barker, trying to reel him in. The question is, does Sorensen have the speed to reel in Barker in the next 13.5 minutes? Simon Zierk sits back in fourth, 7 seconds ahead of fifth place Max Gunther. Max is faster at the moment, but again, does he have the time to close in? Rudolph Gunther sitting in 6th, Mike Marshall in 7th, Mike Dolling in 8th. Those three drivers all within about 4 seconds, with Mike Dolling reeling the both of them in ahead. George Cole holds on to 9th, Nicole Kriesel in 10th. Looked like George pulled over as I believe Max Gunther went flying by. Adam Barker giving everything he has got, but he is not reeling in the leader at all. However, he has pulled a bit of a gap on Sorensen. Looks like last time by, Sorensen lost a bit of time. Simon Zierk now just 4 seconds behind. Meanwhile, Max Gunther continues to try and close in on Simon, but not making much headway at the moment. Mike Marshall just ran his fastest lap of the morning as he tries to reel in Rudolph Gunther. He is right there now. Mike Marshall in that Conliff Racing car has been on the attack all morning long. Both of the Mikes have been extremely fast. Adam Barker has managed to chip away at the lead, but just by a quarter of a second. Speaking of chipping away, you saw Nick Sorensen in back a shot. He was sending it out of that first section. Simon Zierk sitting in 4th and Max Gunther in 5th. Rudolph Gunther still under attack as Mike Marshall is there, and Mike Dolling has closed that gap quite a bit. Dolling less than 3 seconds behind and gaining on the 2 cars ahead. Max Gunther still holds on to 5th place, but has not gained any ground the last couple of laps. On 4th place, Simon Zierk. In fact, he has lost a little bit of ground, now almost 9 seconds back. Here we go. Mike Marshall sends it down to the inside on Rudolph Gunther. Oh, Rudolph spins off. Was there contact? Let's take a look. Down to the inside. No, Rudolph just pushes it a little too hard and spins off. And Mike Dolling barely misses that. Team Gunther definitely struggling here this morning. They knew coming into today the Porsche was at a distinct disadvantage. That's why there are 8 Ferraris in the field this morning. Mike Marshall now up into 6th. Mike Dolling in 7th. Rudolph Gunther back to 8th. Mike Dolling trying to close the gap on Mike Marshall at the moment. And meanwhile, out front, Andrew Lau continues to hold a 14 1/4 second lead over Adam Barker. Nick Sorensen in 3rd has been unable to close any more ground on the leader as Adam Barker just set the fastest lap of the race. He is the only driver to make it under a 1:32. He ran a 1:31.99. That is the fastest lap of the morning. And Adam closed the big gap on Andrew Lau. He is now under 14 seconds behind. Does Adam have enough left in just a couple of laps to close that big of a gap? We have seen stranger things and bigger comebacks here in GT3 NSS in the past, but boy, it has been a while. Mike Marshall now has to worry. Mike Dolling right at 2 seconds behind. Nick Sorensen sits in 3rd, cannot close the gap on Barker. Has pulled away from Simon Zierk in 4th. Max Gunther in 5th has closed the gap now, down to less than 7 seconds on Zierk. Still trying to close in. Max is on full attack here. Andrew Lau's lead is shrinking down to 13.5 seconds, but at this rate, Adam is not going to make it. One heck of an impressive comeback, though, for Adam Barker. Max Gunther had a bit of an off track a moment ago, has got it gathered up, though. And still closing in on 4th place, Simon Zierk. Meanwhile, Mike Dolling, the battle of the mics is about to be here as Dolling just about 1.7 seconds behind Mike Marshall. The white flag is in the air for Andrew Lau one more time around Interlagos. Adam Barker in second, Nick Sorensen holds third, Simon Zierk in fourth. Max Gunther in fifth, Mike Marshall in sixth, has Mike Doling in seventh. He is on maximum attack as well. Nicole moves out of the way so the mics can go at it. Lau just needs to make it through this tight section of track one more time and he will win. Max Gunther managing to come back and run fifth here. A great comeback for him. And Mike Marshall now has Doling right on his bumper. Mike versus Mike on the final lap as Andrew Lau heads toward the final turns. A rough first race for Andrew Lau, but he comes home with the win in race 2 at Interlagos. Adam Barker will come home with second place, and Nick Sorensen will finish third. And let's talk to our top 3, starting with Nick. Nick, you had one heck of a run here this morning.
Hey, thanks, Doug. Thanks, yeah. Good day, good day.
A couple of podium finishes here today. Definitely going to help in the points, especially with Harry not making the race.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He just had some issues with his connection. But heck yeah, I'll take a second and a third all day, Max. Andrew and Adam were flying this race. I don't think I'd have caught them. So a second and third place is good with me.
Well, man, great job this morning. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks, Doug.
Adam Barker comes home in second place. Adam, despite the second place finish here, I have to say, you set the fastest lap of the race with just a few laps left to go. You were definitely attacking.
Yeah, just a silly mistake in the pit lane there. Happened to me to Austin Powers my way out of it. Yeah, I was really looking for the win there, and then 14 seconds back after my mistake, so nothing I could do there. Yeah, really happy with the race. Race pace was good. Just one mistake just sort of ruined it a little bit.
I have to say, seeing that you were the only driver to break the 132 mark this morning and do it so late in the race, were you conserving at all the second half of that one?
No, I was just I don't even know how I did it myself. I was just running laps at that point. Just trying to keep it nice and consistent. I think sometimes when you dial it back a few percent, you end up finding a little bit more grip somewhere than you did before. But yeah, I just managed to hook that lap up.
Well, congratulations! A great morning overall, Adam.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a really interesting race.
Adam Barker comes home second, but Andrew Lau dominates race number 2. That was a really dominant performance, Andrew. Once you got to the front, you were pretty well unstoppable.
Well, Adam was catching me pretty quickly. I thought we were going to have another battle, but it's unfortunate he spun in the pit lane.
I have to say, Adam did say between the races that you would be tough to beat starting on the pole. You were able to fight your way forward, and it was just nothing. Adam closed in once or twice, and set some very fast laps, but just the consistency alone kept you up there.
Yeah, I still think Adam probably had the pace to beat me today, though, in both races.
Well, you come home with the win. You're going to close the points gap up on Adam just a little bit this morning, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Obviously, a little bit of audio difficulty this morning. Hope you guys could hear the interviews. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to come back tonight, 7:30 Eastern, as BRR's Cup Series race number 2 at Dover. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope y'all had as much fun as we did. We'll see you tonight. Have a great day, everybody.